What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Cracka Crumbs update. This update's going to basically be a lot of reviews and a couple of rumor slash fact things that I've found out that I found rather interesting, and a couple of reviews on some TV shows. So let's get right into it, shall we? First thing I want to kind of really quick review is WWE 13. Very, very cool. I do have WWE 12, which I loved. I thought it was an awesome game. A lot of fun. This one's basically that one on crack. This one takes everything you loved about the previous game and just amps it up. Just flat out awesome, awesome game. I absolutely love it. If you're a wrestling fan, definitely pick it up. I've already made a hell of a lot of Marvel and DC characters. I got Wolverine, Sabretooth, the Black Cat, Mary Jane. I have all sorts of stuff in here. Just really, really cool. Really enjoy it. I give this thing a 10 out of a 10. Great game. Moving on to some quick rumor and fact things that I've heard, which I guess they're rumors until they've actually become full out fact, which they haven't yet. But half the time the rumors become facts later on anyway. But anyway, one rumor I heard is that Chris Hemsworth, who everyone knows as Thor, is in negotiations right now to play He-Man. Interesting. The original He-Man with Dolph Lundgren, I thought was just a great movie. I mean, it was cheesy as hell. It really was. But, you know, back in the 80s, when I was a kid, and I loved watching He-Man, the cartoon, seeing him on the big screen as, like, a live-action hero, I was like, when I saw it in the theater, I was like, this is awesome. This is the greatest movie ever. But, you know, you watch it now, and you're just kind of like, huh. But, hey, what the hell? They're remaking everything. Might as well go for that, too. And another thing, if people have seen, if everyone out there has seen Batman The Dark Knight Rises, probably don't want to really hear any really spoiler alerts. So you might want to skip this whole video entirely. But anyway, I forget what the guy's name, John Levitt or Joseph Levitt, I don't know what the hell his name is. The guy who played Robin slash Blake, or whatever you want to call him. Apparently, he's going to be playing Batman in the Justice League movie. Interesting. And it's funny because, like, a friend of mine, we were just going at it. He's like, you can't do that. You know, Bruce Wayne is Batman, and you can't, you know, it's the stupidest thing. I agree, and I disagree. I agree because, to me, Batman will always be Bruce Wayne. And The Dark Knight Rises ending was kind of like, really? Is that what you're going to do? You know, Batman, like I said, might want to skip ahead if you don't want the ending of Batman Rises. Skip ahead a little bit. The ending with him retiring, I was just like, it's not Bruce Wayne, it's not Batman. He doesn't just simply retire. Like, if you read the Batman comics and you read or watch the cartoon or any of that stuff, you look at Batman. Batman is flat out hardcore. Batman will go until he can no longer go anymore. Like, he goes to the point where he's dead. He'd rather die than give up being Batman. But that being said, if you look at Nolan's, you know, version of it, you know, Batman's just kind of like, he's human, you know, but the persona of Batman is like, you know, forever. Whereas Bruce Wayne, if you look at him, he's shot. He's just, you know, his body just can't take it that much anymore. You know, his knees are bad, his back was shot, you know, everything. And if you read the newer comics, look what happened when Bruce Wayne was killed. Dick Grayson, Nightwing, became Batman. So it's kind of, you know, I guess you kind of could do it, but who knows? Gotta wait and see. Moving on to some comic reviews. The comics. Actually, you know what? Before I get into the comics, I'm gonna go over some stuff that I just find very interesting. The Walking Dead that came out on Sunday was pretty cool. I'm enjoying that show a hell of a lot. Season 3 is pretty much my favorite season so far. It's not even halfway done yet. I just think it's just flat out awesome. I do hate the fact that they always have, like nowadays, well, they did have it back in the day too. I'm really dating myself. But, you know, like next week's, well, this week or whatever you want to call it, is the mid-season finale. Which always pisses me off because, I mean, I know, you know, you got the holidays because you don't want people, you know, you want them out shopping and stuff like that. But it just sucks because you watch The Walking Dead this week, and then you gotta wait until like freaking February before they give you another new episode. And you're like, 2 months. But the weird thing, I'm gonna go into this let's move Walking Dead over, but the Young Justice cartoon, which I freaking loved the first season. I thought it was really, really cool. It was done really well. I enjoyed the hell out of it. I watched it every chance I could get. And then they make season 2. Now here's what's funny. Season 2 I was enjoying them because they kind of fast forward things a bit, and I was like, what the hell happened? I'm like, all right, wait a minute, and you got to kind of, you watch the first episode of season 2, you're kind of like, you think you missed something. Basically, that's what I was doing for like an hour. I'm like, did I miss something in this thing? But the thing that I don't quite understand is they put out 7 episodes of season 2 about like 3 months ago, and they never put out another episode. Now, I had asked my friend, and I think King Joe and I were talking about this, which makes a hell of a lot of sense. That you have to blame DVDs in a roundabout sort of way, because nowadays, like back when I was a kid, seasons were insanely long. Like the Thundercats, for a perfect example. Thundercats was on every week, every day, Monday through Friday. It had 63 episodes per season. Hello. G.I. Joe, same thing, on every day after school. 60 to 70 something episodes per season. You look at shows nowadays, and Young Justice, it's one episode a week. Okay, fine. Deal with it. But they put out like 7 to 14 episodes, and that's the season. It's done. Which is a bunch of BS. It's like, you start getting going in the season, it's like, oh yeah, we're done. Go buy the $20 DVD now if you want to see the rest of the stuff. But anyway, perhaps people out there know what the hell happened to Young Justice. Is it done? Because, I mean, normally, like I just said, like, they'll have, the mid-season thing, like they'll do 7 or 8 episodes, and then a couple months later they'll do the rest of the episode, like, the other 7 episodes or whatever it is they want to do. Whereas Young Justice, in the beginning of October, it was done. Like, 7 episodes were in October, like, 1st, something like that, and they haven't had an episode since. And they haven't even repeated it, which is really weird. Another weird thing is Green Lantern just kind of dropped off the face of the planet, too. And the Avengers, they've been repeating the hell out of the second season. And from what I remember reading, a while ago, is they were remaking the Avengers cartoon to make it more like the movie, which is pointless because I think the way they did it now is awesome. It's just a great freaking animated cartoon thing that I love watching. But now it's like, we're going to redo it to make it more like the movie because we want to make more money that way because kids will identify with it more. It's like, but that dropped off the planet too. Like, no new episodes, no information on it. Ultimate Spider-Man just kind of went, here's an episode. All right, we're done for who knows when. And the thing that pisses me off is, at least with like The Walking Dead, for instance, or like Smallville back in the day, they would give you a heads up when it was coming back. Like now with these cartoons, like Young Justice in particular, I didn't even know it had a second season going on until my friend's like, "Oh, did you see Young Justice?" I'm like, "No, it was already like its 4th episode in." I'm like, "Really?" He's like, "Yeah, it came out like a month ago." I'm like, "Yeah." Anyway, that's just me. It just pissed me off because I actually enjoyed Young Justice and that stuff, and who knows what happened to it. Let's go into some comics. Uncanny X-Force number 34. Pretty interesting in a roundabout sort of way. Again, if you don't like spoilers, you might want to skip ahead a little bit. But the one before it was just flat out crazy, with Nightcrawler teleporting a shark inside the Blob. This one, basically, Wolverine fights his kid again, and Apocalypse, this kid becomes a new Apocalypse. And basically, apparently, from what I understand, what it looks like, who knows if it's 100% accurate, but Wolverine drowns his son in a puddle. That's how you take out Wolverine's kid. You put his face down in a puddle. And Sabretooth was kind of like in there too. He was like, "Hey, good job, you killed your kid in a puddle." And then this new Apocalypse kid or whatever is just kind of telling Wolverine, he's like, I hate humanity, you know, blah blah blah, and I have to become the Apocalypse and, you know, cleanse the world. And Wolverine kind of looks at him and says, you know, you are what you want to be. He's like, you know, you don't have to be this destructive force. He's like, you can come to my school and I'll teach you how to harness your mutant powers, and you don't have to walk like this evil path. And he's just kind of like, and that's, you know, it just goes on his way. Um, who knows? Who knows? It wasn't bad. It wasn't a crappy book. It was just kind of like, really, drown the kid in a puddle. Um, anyway, moving on to Minimum Carnage Omega, the one shot, which is the last part of the Minimum Carnage miniseries. I thought this was gonna be like a crappy ending when I was like, you know, kind of like Avengers vs X-Men, but it wasn't bad. It wasn't bad. Basically, Carnage comes back to our universe, and Venom and Scarlet Spider follow him, but they're like shrunk down to the size of a bottle cap, and Carnage is kind of kicking their ass at first, and then they obviously enlarge themselves after a time, and of course they throw the beatdown on Carnage, and Scarlet Spider basically, after they kick Carnage's ass, walks right up to him and just takes his stinger and jabs him right through the forehead, you know, or the eye or whatever, into his brain. And at first you think he killed him. You're like, all right, oh damn, man, this guy's hardcore. And Venom's like, you know, what are you doing? He's like, you know, you can't do that. And you know, what separates us from them? And you know how it goes. Where Scarlet Spider kind of says, he's like, you know, eventually it stops becoming Carnage's fault and it starts becoming our fault. And Venom's like, what are you talking about? And he says, you know, how many times do you lock this guy up and he escapes and kills more and more people? He's like, right now, he's like, I just stopped it. He's like, there's no longer a person that's going to kill anybody anymore. He's done. So you kind of think that he's dead. But then the last panel, they show Venom in like a maximum security thing, the raft or whatever it is. And you see a guy in a cell in a straitjacket just like sitting on the floor drooling. And this doctor comes over and explains that it's Carnage, that he was lobotomized by the Scarlet Spider, basically. And Venom's like, oh, so he's harmless now. And the doctor goes, no, he's not harmless. He goes, his humanity, his brain is just wiped out, and now the symbiote has taken full control of his body. So it's basically, there's no longer Cletus Cassidy. It's just flat out Carnage. Like, there's no, you know, human version of him anymore. Even though he's a human body, the symbiote has full control of it now. And they said that Carnage is even more dangerous than he's ever been. So that'll be interesting to see how they use him in the future. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Moving on to the Avengers End Times number 34, which is like the last thing of when they bring the Wasp back. I actually thought the storyline was pretty damn cool. How they brought the Wasp back was interesting. Definitely something that they haven't done. And it was just a really flat out good book. It was a good, entertaining read. I liked it a lot, actually. They had some pretty cool fights in there with Thor and Captain America. And Wonder Man's back. I love Wonder Man. I think he was really cool. I don't know why I like him so much. I just think he's cool looking. You know, it's just like an interesting character. That's about it. Like, there's no, I mean, would I go crazy, you know, with like obtaining Wonder Man issues? I already have, yes. But I don't even know why I'm really like a fan of Wonder Man. I just think that he's just cool. I guess it's just the weirdest thing. I have like no real like thing. I'm like, you know, I don't care about his powers. I don't care about, you know, that he's an Avenger. I just think he's cool looking, and interesting. Moving on to Daredevil number 20. This one was really, really good too. I'm not even a Daredevil fan. I'm kind of like, yeah, Daredevil, but this was good. This was really good. The one before it was really cool, and this one follows up just as good, man. It was just very interesting. The villain that came out in the previous issue, the Coyote they were calling him, Daredevil basically thinks he's the Spot because he can teleport, you know, from spot to spot. Then you find out later on that it's not the Spot. The guy actually grabbed the Spot, and I guess is siphoning his powers and, you know, using it. But it's just a really, really good book, and it definitely is worth the $2.99. That's pretty much how I go by things now with you know, movies and comics, if they're worth the price of admission or buying them. But moving on, which I'll talk about another thing in a moment. But moving on to Iron Man number 2. The first one I had gotten, and I was just kind of like, you know, it's alright, you know, it's not bad, it's Iron Man number 1, and that's pretty much the real main reason why I bought it, is because it was a number 1. And I was just like, it's not nothing really too great. But this one, I got it because I just figured, I'll follow the story, see how it is. This was really good. This was really, really cool. I like this one a lot. Um, Basically, there's this group. I think they're called the Knights of the Round Table, or that's what they're calling them, or whatever they're called. But anyway, this guy gets Iron Man's stolen technology on an island, and he recruits these people, the Knights. Um, this girl Medusa here, that's what she calls herself. Oh, I'm sorry, Medusa. She looks like Medusa with the hair. Merlin, she calls herself. Basically, is like a tech wizard, kind of like Tony Stark, and she comes up with these battle suits, and their whole point of view is that the driver needs to be better than the tech. So basically, these suits aren't as high tech as Iron Man, but the people that are in it are better than Iron Man. It makes sense in a way, I guess. Whereas Iron Man relies on his technology over his skills, these people rely on their skills over their technology. But it was cool. It was really, really good. Iron Man basically analyzes everybody and figures out how to beat them, and Iron Man just really beats the crap out of all of them except one, and that one they call Lancelot. But I'm not going to really give that whole thing away. But it's really cool, and I'm actually looking forward to seeing what the third one is. Moving on to Thor, God of Thunder #1. This is quite another one that I bought because it was a #1. I'm not a huge fan of the Thor comics. I'm a fan of Thor, like the mythology Norse god Thor, and the comic book Thor is cool because he's basically the same thing. But I was never really a fan of his comics. I was kind of like, all right, cool. This one was kind of confusing as hell in a way, but it was also cool in a way. The beginning of the book, basically, it's like 839, 8 BC or something like that, and Thor is talking about all these things that he's done, frost giants, and how Thor is. Then it fast forwards to present time, where Thor is called upon on an alien planet, and this whole big thing gets into why they don't worship gods, and and then all of a sudden it goes into the future where you see an old Thor with one eye and missing an arm, and confusing as hell. But I'm actually interested to see how the second one goes. Moving on to Deadpool #2. This one was really just messed up and funny though. I got the first one. The first one I thought was really funny and interesting because it's kind of a story where you wouldn't only Deadpool would have that kind of a story, and this one's no different. This one is kind of hard to explain. You gotta really just pick it up and read it yourself because it's just flat out messed up. But very, very cool. I enjoyed that one, and I'm actually interested to see what the third one's gonna do. And moving on to the last of my review for comics, Indestructible Hulk #1. This one I liked a lot. Again, this is one of the ones I'm not really a huge Hulk fan. Used to be when I was a kid, but I kind of got out of it. And the real reason I bought it is because it was #1. But this actually kind of goes back to the old school Hulk in a way with a little bit of the new stuff. It sounds kind of stupid. You're like, what are you talking about? When I was a kid, Hulk was basically, Banner. If he was even in the book at all, he would, turn into the Hulk really quick, and he would just smash the hell out of some supervillain or robot or whatever it was. In the newer books, especially the issues before this, the Incredible Hulk, they were kind of analyzing it more of the Banner side of things rather than the Hulk. Whereas Banner was always trying to find a cure for himself and, so on and so forth. And he actually got to the point where he found a cure and was about to get rid of the Hulk forever. And the Hulk kind of looks at him and says, hey, you need me as much as I need you. I don't like you. Even though the same person, it's like a multiple personality. He's like, I don't like you, but I need you around or I don't exist. And vice versa. Like the Hulk's like, how many times have I saved your ass? And then Banner's like, well, how many times have I not destroyed you? Whole big thing. And this one, basically, they have Maria Hill from S.H.I.E.L.D. She's in a diner or something crap like that, trying to track the Hulk, who's been missing for 4 weeks. And Banner just suddenly shows up and comes up with an idea. He's like, listen, I know you're not alone. I know S.H.I.E.L.D. agents are everywhere, but I want to make a deal with you. And he pulls out this device that apparently would cure people diseases of certain water or something like that. And he's like, if you look at the Hulk, he's like, the Hulk can be a great asset if he's focused. He's like, everyone thinks the Hulk as a bomb He's like, but I want you to start thinking of the Hulk as a cannon. He's like, you point me in a certain direction and send me on my way, and I'll do what needs to be done for you. So he's kind of like selling himself in a way, and he's like, if you look at Reed Richards and Tony Stark, they're known as geniuses because of what the mark they're leaving on the world. You know, they come up with these advancements, and he's like, I'm just as smart, if not smarter than them. But all I'm going to be known as when I die is Hulk Smash. He's like, is going to be on my tombstone, and he's like, and I want to change that. I want to be the scientist. I want to do this for the the world, and I want to remember to something other than the Hulk. And she's kind of like, well, what do you want? He's like, I want a lab. I want to be funded. I want unlimited funds. I want this. I want that. And when I turn to the Hulk, he's like, not if. He's like, but when? Because it's going to happen. All you have to do is point me in the direction of something you want destroyed, and send me on my way. And then when I'm done, I'll turn back to me, and you just pick me up and bring me back to the lab, and rinse and repeat. That's what he says. So it's kind of cool. Like it's like the old school Hulk, where you're kind of getting the whole Hulk smash kind of aspect of it, but you're also getting some of the new stuff where Banner's just kind of like, there's no way I'm getting rid of the Hulk. He's always going to be a part of me. He's always going to be around no matter what I do, and I've made peace with that. But just leave me alone and let me do my work, and then everything will be So it's kind of like the old and new, but it was interesting. I'm actually looking forward to see the second one, because the second one, apparently, he fights Iron Man. So it'll be pretty cool. It was definitely worth the money. Moving on to the last of my reviews, because I've been going on forever, and that is, I got a chance to see the Red Dawn movie, the remake. It wasn't bad. I mean, I like the original a hell of a lot better. The original basically stands the test of time. Like, you watch the original, and you kind of, feel for the characters. You kind of get inside their head. You're like, all right, well, that sucks. If this really happened, what would you do? And so on and so forth. Whereas the new one, I was just kind of having trouble like getting into the movie. I'm like, yeah. I mean, it had cooler effects. It had cooler weaponry, but I was just kind of like, sometimes I was even looking at my watch. I'm like, oh my god, It did have a lot of stuff from the original that they, I guess, kind of nodded towards, show respect, I guess, for the original. It did change a hell of a lot of stuff. A lot of people in the movie, a lot of things was changed, which, obviously, because you don't want an exact remake, because then you know exactly what happens. So it was interesting. The things that they changed were interesting. It was just kind of like, I'm like, oh, okay, all right. Was it worth seeing in the movies? No. For me, definitely not. It was definitely not worth the $15 or whatever it is you pay for the movies. It's more of a rental / watch on TV kind of thing. Definitely see the original one from the 80s. That is definitely worth it. That is awesome. The new one, like I said, it wasn't bad, but I don't think it was all that great. I mean, a lot of people were like, oh, it's the greatest movie. It's awesome. Okay, me, I was just like, all right, okay. Next. But yeah, that's, if I had to give it like a rating, 1 out of 10, I'd probably give it like maybe like a 5, if that. But then again, that's my opinion, just me. Yeah, I've been rambling on enough, but one thing I'm ashamed of myself is I've been really slacking a lot on things. I haven't finished any of my projects that I'm doing, like my new intros I haven't done for Crumbs or for Cracka itself. I've been slacking on reading my comics. I've really been slacking on watching everyone's videos. I'm so far behind on videos. I'm like, oh my god! I'm looking at things. I'm like, oh man! I'll look at one video that I know I didn't see, and then I look at how many I've missed that are above it. I'm like, oh my god! So I'm gonna have to just lock myself in my apartment for the next couple of days to start watching everyone's videos, because I've been slacking. I've been a bad goblin, bad Loki. But anyway, I've rambled on long enough. If you like what we see, please hit the like button. Comment away. I love the comments. I love getting them. I love answering questions. I've answered a few. You guys know who you are. I've even slacked on making a shout-out thank you video. Damn. It's coming around. It's coming around. It's going to probably be on my tombstone. It's coming around. Anyway, if you really like what you see, really like what you see, subscribe. I always like new subscribers, seeing new stuff. And, it's not the size of your man cave that matters, it's what you have in it.